Christ redeemed us from the curse of the law by becoming a curse for us. Friends, come and see the truth. You have something so much better than a scapegoat. You have a sin bearer that takes away all sin, past, present, and future. That's what Christ is doing for us in these stories that we hear, in all that we commemorate tonight. Can you see it? Think with me on all that took place and ask yourself, what's Jesus doing? Is He not being your scapegoat? Think about it. Come see the truth of what it is He's doing. On the night that He was betrayed, all that happened to Him, what was it about? I know that there are men involved in the whole process. I know we read the story, and there are men actively doing things to Jesus. But please understand that while there are men doing all of these things to Jesus, while there are men that mock Him and beat Him and spit on Him and crucify Him, you must not think of it only as men doing this. This is the work of the Father. The Father does these things. And it's not sin to do them. It's right to do them. Why? Because the Father has placed your guilt upon the Son. And the Son has become a curse for you. As Jerry read earlier, or quoted 2 Corinthians 5. He became sin for you. What does that even mean? He became sin for me. Not that He sinned, but in some mysterious way, God the Father saw the Son and treated the Son as if the Son was my sin. As if He were you in all your guilt and wickedness. The Father is not doing these things to the Son for the Son's sin, is He? Whose sin then? You see? It's not for His sin. Then whose sin? And if it's not His sin, He's the sin bearer. Rejoice in that. He is bearing your sin and my sin. So think about what happens to Him. He's led away and put on trial. And do you know why He was put on trial? Because He was taking your place. And so He stands trial because you committed crimes. Not because He did. He stands before a council and is judged because God decrees that you should be judged. And He's accused of your crimes. Think about it. What's the charge that's brought against Jesus? What's the charge? What's that? Right, King of the Jews. What did the Jews think that meant? Blasphemy. His charge is blasphemy. Right? Why is Jesus' charge blasphemy? By the way, they're right. That is what He's guilty of. Not His blasphemy, your blasphemy. He's guilty of your blasphemy. You're the one who's acted as though you were God, whose plans are so much better than His, whose wisdom and ways are so much wiser than His. You're the one who's acted like God. That's the greatest blasphemy that there is. You want to dethrone Him and you want to be Him. It's that charge that He's standing on trial for. That's why He doesn't open His mouth. Because He's guilty of your sin. He can't answer back. You're guilty. Jesus is guilty of blasphemy before that tribunal because you're guilty in God's eyes. And Christ is being your sin bearer. He's being your scapegoat. So He's charged with your sin. And maybe you don't realize this, but you're the one that should be mocked. Do you understand how the entire universe should gather around, every angel and created being should gather around you in all your self-proclaimed wisdom, thinking you're God? And dress you in that robe and put that crown on you and mock your ridiculous role of an imposter. You think you're God? They should mock you that way for what you've done, for the way that you've acted. That's why the Father has the Son mocked. That's why He's treated this way. It's the way that I should be treated. And of course, the greatest horror of the cross, the real penalty of the curse that Christ bore is death. Not physical death, but separation from the Father's pleased presence. Who will ascend the hill of the Lord and stand in His presence and enjoy His love? Only the one who has clean hands, pure hands, one like Christ. It is Christ who for ages past ascended that hill and enjoyed the loving presence of the Father, who now on Good Friday, brothers and sisters, ascends a very different hill, with the burden of your sin upon His back. Think about Him climbing that hill. What love there was in His steps for you to do this thing. And He climbs that hill not to see the face of a Father who loves Him, At that moment, there is no love being shown to him. But to experience what no words can explain, eternal rejection and separation from the Father. Loneliness that is beyond what any human can understand. The absence of peace and the absence of love and the absence of kindness and the absence of gentleness, the absence of all that God is. To climb this hill and to find the God whose face he had seen love him for eternity past, and to find in that face nothing but hatred and anger. And to experience an eternal rejection. And to bear that for countless millions. That's what we see happening because he's the scapegoat. He's the sin bearer. Do you see? It's all happening not because of his sins. It's happening because of the sins of those who come to him, who place their hands on his head. And their guilt is transferred to him. Look what he does for us. Here we come together this night to commemorate this fact, that Jesus Christ is our scapegoat. And so, brothers and sisters, tonight, I don't know about you, I long for a place to place my hands so that all of my guilt would be transferred away and that he would drive it far from me. I need that. I want that. Do you? Oh, for a place. Oh, for a refuge. That I would have somewhere to go and there'd be no more excuses for sin, no more debate. Just place my hands upon him. Lord, take it and drive it away from me. He's willing to do that. He's willing. Tonight, you can come and place your hands upon him, and all of your guilt and all of the wrath of God against you is transferred to him, and then he goes and bears it away because of the depth of his love for you. How do I put my hands on him? He's not here. How do I place my hands on him? Jesus isn't here. How would I ever do that? What do we mean when we say place your hands on his head and let that guilt be transferred? What we mean is this. Believe. We mean tonight, believe that Jesus Christ really is willing to bow before you and say, place your hands upon me and let me serve you. And all of the wrath and guilt that is yours, I will take it. I will swallow every bit of wrath for you. Let me take it. Believe I'm good enough to do this for you. The one who believes that and comes to him for refuge has a scapegoat. And it's gone. It's gone. Wrath is gone. Wrath is gone. You can celebrate tonight. There's no more wrath. No more anger. No, it's gone.